The Trump administration started firing 6,700 IRS employees as we approach the height of tax filing season. This means fewer agents to deal with audits and collections, but the president believes Barron can pick up most of the load during spring break. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Welcome to Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. I am Norman Chad. Coming up on the program today, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to the White House. Elon Musk is going home to South Africa. And St. Mary's is going to the Final Four. At least one of those things should be true. Gambling Mad, as always, brought to you by Fritos. Picked fresh each morning off of Central California trees, delivered directly to your local retailer each afternoon. And by the refreshing taste of Fresca. Fritos and Fresca. It's a meal. With Kash Patel confirmed as FBI director, Donald Trump's top dogs are now ready to bark and bite. It's the murderer's row of meritocracy and mediocrity. It's the revenge team. It would be the most dangerous lineup in all of baseball if this were MLB. Let's run down this lineup. Batting leadoff, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, Fox News weekend host, best known for chugging whiskey and chasing skirts. Fuck yeah! Next up, RFK Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services, pro-heroin and anti-vaccine, plus one time he dumped a dead bear into Central Park. Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, no intelligence background, and she loves foreign dictators. Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education, not particularly well educated, but she produces WWE telecasts, and she loves Vince McMahon. Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security. She once shot and killed her dog because it just wasn't working out. Lee Zeldin will run the Environmental Protection Agency. He is in favor of eliminating environmental protections. Kash Patel, FBI director, big on conspiracy theories and likes to get even with enemies. Doug Burgum, Secretary of the Interior. He was a software company executive. Hey, I was thinking of becoming a software company executive. Maybe I could be in the cabinet too. And finally, batting ninth, Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation. He was a former reality TV star, which reminds me the president is a former reality TV star.
You're fired.
Oh, and the vice president once wrote a fictional memoir. There you got it. Your star-studded lineup, your cabinet of cabinets, the single most awesome collection of mind and body ever assembled in the White House and nearby government buildings. Your Donald J. Trump all-star second-term administration.
The leading authority.
Developers are trying to build a casino in Fairfax County, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. As is always the case, there are many groups opposing a new casino, and as is always the case, they have many good reasons. But this Virginia proposal has induced an anti-casino argument never put forth before: national security. Let's get back to that in just a moment. Here's a plausible scenario when a professional athlete gambles. Let's say an NBA player, drawing from his casino line of credit in Las Vegas, plays blackjack and loses a few $100,000. Somebody with juice at the casino then tells the NBA player, hey, we will forgive you your debt if you make sure your team doesn't win by more than 8 points Friday night. Or we'll forgive you your debt if you make sure you don't score more than 21 points Friday night. Unlikely? Yeah. Possible? Oh yeah, it's possible. Let's return to this case of national security. The proposed Virginia casino is going to be located very close to the offices of the Pentagon and the CIA. A group of former defense and intelligence officials have created a coalition called National Security Leaders of Fairfax, and these folks are arguing if Pentagon and CIA types lose money gambling nearby, it would enable, quote, adversarial intelligence services looking to recruit those whom they hope to blackmail.
I have the best people.
The co-chair of this group, Sally K. Horn, told the Washington Post, Problem gamblers who go into deep debt and fear losing their jobs are prime targets for compromise and recruitment by Russia, China, and others who would do us ill. Okay, if we can, let me offer viewers and listeners right now a reenactment of the moment I heard from Sally K. Horn that this casino should not be built because our spies might get blackmailed by their skies. Okay, here was my exact reaction. Granted, maybe I'm wrong here, but since this theory is being pushed by a group calling themselves the national security leaders of Fairfax, I'm skeptical. I don't trust folks who proclaim themselves national security leaders. I mean, who died and made this Sally K. Horn individual Mata Hari? This is a non-issue for me. I'm sure everyone in the military gambles at pretty much the same rate as the rest of America. But I am not buying this business that if there is a gambling palace near a high-level government building, some Pentagon muckety-muck might be playing the slots one afternoon, and then some foreign espionage figure emerges from the shadows of the video kino area and goes, "Psst, psst, hey, buddy, I see you're losing your shirt. Now, if you don't want me to tell your bosses and you want to get your money back, all you have to do is provide me some classified, top secret intel. Just give it to me, your greatest enemy, and you're in the clear. Deal? Please." Hey, maybe Julius and Ethel Rosenberg would have spilled the beans over a bad day at the roulette table, but that's a short list. What, you never heard of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg? Google them, you huckadoodles. Let's take a look at my week on X. Good news and bad news. Let's start with the good. It has to do with my buddy Elon Musk. You'll remember our new campaign. You know, some people like MAGA. I know a lot who like MAGA. But now we've got MEGA. And to be honest with you, MEGA is better than MAGA. And why is MEGA better than MAGA? Because MEGA is make Elon go away.
Aliens visitor.
So I decided to get really proactive with MEGA. And well, Elon is going home. I announced it on X. I have booked Elon Musk a first-class ticket for this Saturday, March 1st from Washington, D.C. to Cape Town, South Africa. I got him a window seat so he can see Mars en route. Cost of the ticket, $17,762.50. $17,000 plus for a one-way flight, but it's worth it to send the planet Poobah back to his side of the planet. I have arranged with Delta and TSA to allow Elon to bring his chainsaw. We do not have a gate number yet for this flight, but we will have a tailgate party Saturday at Reagan National Airport to send Elon off in style. Check my X account at Norman Chad for more details as we get closer to flight time. Okay, now on to the bad news. X giveth and X taketh away. I discovered Dan Bongino, one of America's top podcasters, on X in the past year. Bongino is a delusional, loudmouth, foul-mouthed, bat-crazy, conspiracy theory-touting former Secret Service agent. I have responded to Dan Bongino's feather-brained X posts dozens of times in an attempt to counter his cockeyed worldview. I believe I am losing this battle. He now has more than 6 million followers. I am down to 60,000 followers. Anyway, naturally, spewing hate and venom, he has a large audience. Naturally, he is someone Donald Trump would hire. So, as it turns out this week, the president named Bongino as deputy director of the FBI, the number 2 position at the Bureau. Okay, so upon hearing this news, I went to X to comment on it, maybe even congratulate Dan Bongino, and I discovered that Dan Bongino has blocked me. Man, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. I mean, I just don't think it works. I just don't think it works in my favor that an increasingly authoritarian and fascist regime in which the FBI director has an enemies list, I am now in the crosshairs of the FBI deputy director. Danny, let's do lunch. Okay? I don't want to spend the next 4 years looking over my shoulder and waiting for a knock on my door late at night. Seriously, good luck, Dan Bongino. And to quote Sarge from Hill Street Blues, let's do it to them before they do it to us. Time for Trump Tittle Tattle. All the latest news about our 45th and 47th and final president. Cue the music. President Trump announced that he and Elon Musk will visit Fort Knox to check on the gold reserve there. The president hopes some gold is missing so he can blame Biden. Elon hopes he can get some Christmas shopping done for his children. President Trump, in an X post, encouraged Elon Musk to adopt a more aggressive stance. Elon now plans to run with the bulls in Pamplona this summer while driving a Cybertruck. The Trump administration started firing 6,700 IRS employees as we approach the height of tax filing season. This means fewer agents to deal with audits and collections, but the president believes Barron can pick up most of the load during spring break. And finally, in a post on Truth Social, President Trump called himself the king. He becomes unofficially the fifth American king in the last 100 years, following Benny Goodman, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and LeBron James. And that is Trump Tittle Tattle for this week. You know, a lot of confusion this week about whether the Philadelphia Eagles will or will not visit the White House to honor their Super Bowl 59 title. A lot of false reports, a lot of speculative reports. Here is the definitive report according to my sources. The Eagles did have a team meeting and decided to vote on whether to accept a White House invitation from the Trump administration. The Eagles players voted 28-25 not to go to the White House. However, the Eagles used an electoral college-style voting system. This turned the tables. The yes vote to visit the White House was the winner, 281-257, carrying all 7 swing states. So it's fly, Eagles, fly to the nation's capital soon, though I should note there will be an Eagles team vote on whether they go by train or by plane. Let's turn to our favorite vice in moderation, sports betting. We always like to remind you, when you stick with Gambling Mad, you lose less. And we make you smile while you're withdrawing money from the ATM. March Madness is approaching, and I'm going to give you 2 sleepers to bet on to make the Final Four. Let's start with St. John's. Now, sure, I am not a Rick Pitino guy. I prefer my coaches to have sex at home, not on a table in an Italian restaurant. But Pitino can coach. He's the only coach to win a national championship at 2 different schools, Kentucky and Louisville. He's the only coach to go to the Final Four with 3 different schools, Providence, Kentucky, and Louisville. St. John's could be his 4th school to make it to the Final Four. St. John's is 24-4, playing in the very tough Big East. The 4 losses are by a combined 7 points. With its defense, St. John's is never out of a game. I like them at plus 650 to make the Final Four. We risk $100 to win $650. That's the whole idea, to take these long shots, and if one of them comes in, we're in good shape. So now here's an ultra sleeper for you. St. Mary's from the West Coast Conference. Gonzaga is the only school people know about in the West Coast Conference, and I adore Gonzaga, but this is St. Mary's year. The Gales are 25-4. They have beaten Gonzaga, USC, and Nebraska. They play a slow-paced, tough as nails defensive type of game that frustrates teams with more talent. St. Mary's best 2 players are from Lithuania. So if they can avoid ICE agents for like 6 more weeks, that's all I ask for this bet to come in. Okay, now let's be honest for a moment. Many of you have absolutely no idea where St. Mary's is. Well, the full name of the school gives you a good hint. St. Mary's College of California. But I got to be honest here. Also, I live in California, and I still don't know where St. Mary's is. It's a big state, and it's not near any Popeyes that I go to.
Yum.
So we're going to roll with St. Mary's as a sleeper to make the Final Four, and they are a big underdog, plus 2,500. Wow. Risk $100 to get back $2,500. So we got St. John's at plus 650 and St. Mary's at plus 2,500. Either one of them hits, and we are going to Sizzler. But do not bet more than $100 because, hey, I'm usually wrong. I'd like to take a moment out now. And boy, this is tough. It's like losing a close friend. And, well, damn, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be. We knew this day would come, but it really doesn't blunt the impact now that it is here. Let me just get to it. It appears we have lost Hooters. Aww. 41 years of big breasts and bad food. Where do we turn now? Hooters is planning to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and dozens of stores were closed last week. I'm going to miss the tank tops and the sparkling, clean white shoes, and most of all, the tan pantyhose. Where else in America was anybody still wearing tan pantyhose and making it look good?
Yum.
Okay, full disclosure. I was in Hooters only one time. I was on a work assignment in Jacksonville, Florida. When we finished the day, my colleagues asked me to join them at a nearby Hooters. Really, I said, Hooters? And a coworker I never trusted again told me, oh yeah, you got to get the chicken sandwich. It's terrific. I got the chicken sandwich. It was so not terrific. I actually started talking to the Hooters girl who was our server. And we didn't have much in common. That conversation must have lasted 15, maybe 20 seconds. Later that night, I had to sneak out of my hotel and go get a microwave burrito at the nearby 7-Eleven. R.I.P. Hooters. Before we wrap up, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. I do not care if any New York Yankee has facial hair, and I do not care what any New York Yankee listens to after games. Twice this month, the Yankees have made epic announcements. First, they held a 20-minute press conference to tell us that the team was reversing its 1976 policy on no facial hair. It will now allow players to have well-groomed beards. The New York Times Athletic website referred to the no facial policy as, quote, one of the most recognizable rules in American professional sports. One of the most recognizable rules in American professional sports. Let me be perfectly blunt here. I could walk west on Wilshire Boulevard all the way to the Pacific Ocean. That's got to be 7-8 miles. And I could count the number of people I might run into on one finger who are aware of the Yankees' facial hair policy. Next, the Yankees breathlessly announced that they will no longer play Frank Sinatra's New York, New York at Yankee Stadium after Yankee losses. This ends a 45-year tradition. They'll still play it after wins. It ends a 45-year tradition, a tradition that no one outside of New York much cares about. So stop spreading the news. I don't want to be a part of it. On the other hand, I wouldn't mind waking up in a city that, after Yankees losses, hires an accordionist and a bagpipe player to do a live rendition of In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. That'll do it for another edition of Gambling Mad with Norm and Chad. Hope to see you again next time. And remember, if you're going to roll the dice, make sure they're loaded. I was just reading that the biggest delay in boarding a flight are passengers dealing with the overhead bins. This makes sense. If we all just boarded the flight without any carry-on luggage, it would be find your seat and bang, bang, you're off. So we've identified the problem. How do we solve the problem? We can't. Have you flown lately? Have you watched the Mardi Gras of morons lugging their oversized carry-ons on board? It's as if they're trying to stuff their life belongings into a telephone booth. I understand there are a lot of ways to game the system, but you still can't squeeze 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag. Here's an idea. Fly Southwest. 2 check bags for free. Here's a better idea. Fly Spirit. No matter how long you delay boarding with your carry-on nonsense, it won't matter because they're going to cancel the flight anyway. The rest of you, stay off my American, United, and JetBlue flights, because if I see one more square-headed schlepper try to cram a duffel bag, a guitar case, and a grandfather clock into the overhead compartment, I will go gambling mad!